Welcome to the SSH Press Box. My name is Phillip Wortham, and I am the Chief Clinical Simulation Officer at a simulation center in Butte, Montana called Praxis. I am a site reviewer for the Society for Simulation in Healthcare and have a podcast called The Simulation Operative. Today I'm here with a lot of my very good, close friends. We're going to go down the line and do a little bit of an introduction. We'll start with JJ.
I'm Jack Jager. I'm the Executive Director of Program in Western Indiana, and I'm the current chair of SSH Accreditation.
I'm Tom Lemaster. I'm the Operations Director at the University of Florida's College of Medicine, and I am the past chair of the Accreditation Council.
And I'm Jared Young, Director of Operations, Technology, and Business Development at the Center for Healthcare Improvement and Patient Simulation at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. I'm the incoming chair for the Accreditation Council this year.
Oh, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
It's crazy. I feel so privileged. This is a powerhouse team on the stage, and for those of you that are on the vendor floor, we welcome you here to come and listen about healthcare simulation accreditation through the Society for Simulation in Healthcare. Very excited to talk about what accreditation is and what it means and how to go about that process. So let's talk about healthcare simulation accreditation through the Society and what that means.
Yeah, so we've been accrediting programs for over 12 years now. We have over 250 programs across the world in 6 continents. We haven't gotten to Antarctica yet, but we're working on it. And we're very excited about the direction we're going here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where did you guys start in the accreditation process? How did this begin in the Society?
Wow, this started a long time ago. Like JJ said, about 13 years ago or so, we a group got together, and at that time it was under a different name of the organization. It was a committee, if you will, was put in charge to develop accreditation, certification, etc. Accreditation took off, as did certification, and standards were created over a period of time. They started off with 11 programs originally to be accredited as in the pilot phase, and it has just grown to today. We have 250, starting from 11 to 250 over the last 10 years. Standards get reviewed every 5 years or so and updated based on what we learn each time we visit a center.
Yeah.
So it was one of the early president's charges, if you will, with the organization. The vision was, let's have an accreditation certification process.
No, that's awesome. Since accreditation for the Society has really taken off, 13 years ago, it's evolved and changed. And what's nice about that is we're in this continuous improvement cycle of, we didn't create something and say this will never change in its lifetime. We're looking at adapting and changing and evolving over the course of lifetime of the Society as well as other centers. Why is that so important?
I think it's always important to continue that growth, right? Like, we even charge the programs that we accredit. I know when I go on site, a lot of programs will sit for core and for teaching and education, but you see the great work they're doing in assessment, in research that they just don't know that they're doing, systems integration, even the possibility for fellowship. So we want them to continue every 5 years to think what's next, to continue to move forward, right? Like, we don't want to reach a status quo, get stagnant, and just kind of stay there. We want it to continue to be on the cutting edge and be recognizing the programs that are doing things the best practice way. And we know that those best practices continue to change year over year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of simulation programs out there or centers that want to become accredited, but becoming accredited is kind of a scary approach to a lot of people. They look at it and I'll never do it, it's too much work or it's too hard. What are some of the steps or processes they should go through early on in the accreditation process to become accredited?
I think the first thing is to take it in small bites, right?
Yeah.
Don't try to eat the whole thing in one bite. But there are lots of resources out there that we've provided that will help people get them ready for accreditation. I mean, there are companion documents for each set of standards that have been written and rewritten over the last several years. And there are mentors that they can reach out to through accreditation, and we're happy to help through that whole process to get them ready.
And I think the other thing too, sorry Tom, we're offering core courses every year at IMSH too, right? We're doing a deep dive into those standards, those companion documents that JJ mentioned. So there's plenty of opportunity out there for people that are really interested to be able to pick the minds of some of the best that are out there, accrediting sites, and some of the collective knowledge they have over the 12-year process.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when you asked that question about it, one of the things that went to my mind is we've grown so much over the last 10, 13 years now, right? So many programs are now developing, they're starting out, there's a lot of new programs, right? So now there's a roadmap for accreditation.
Yes.
So if you are a program that's starting out, look at the accreditation standards and build your program around that. Accreditation will suddenly be, I got this.
Yeah.
And it won't be so daunting and won't be so unnerving when you look at all those standards because you've done it all. All of us had to do it. We got the standards like, uh-oh, we needed,
we're in trouble.
We started putting it together. Well, if you start out that way, it'd be so much smoother.
No, absolutely. It's like developing curriculum for your sim center or your sim program. If you think of the end in mind and the outcomes you want to achieve, then you're able to achieve that. And so I've always really advocated for looking at the accreditation standards right now. And even though you may not be ready or think you're ready to become accredited, use those standards to build your program. And now you have a really good foundation to be successful with. And when it's time to become accredited, guess what? Now you're ready.
Right.
One thing that's really awesome about the society is they've really developed a safety net to help catch you, right? It is a lot of work and it is a challenge to get there, but there are people and resources to help that process ease in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a little bit of work, right? It means something to become accredited.
Absolutely.
And we have standards, but it's a kinder, gentler accreditation compared to something like Joint Commission or something like that.
Absolutely.
We're not going through with white gloves and checking every surface, but we have a set of standards and we expect our programs to meet those.
Yeah, I laugh at that analogy because we do come in and we will open every drawer and look at things, and that part of that is because of accreditation standards, but of course we're all simulationists and we love sim centers and simulation programs and everything that goes in, and we're curious, right? How does this work? How do you do this? We want ideas for our own programs as well.
Well, and on top of it, all of us come from accredited programs.
Yeah.
We've been in the seat of the person that's applying for that, and so it's nerve-wracking. It makes you get prepared, but we feel their pain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Essentially everyone, though, that we've accredited will say at the end of this, regardless of whether we're successful or not, it was a good journey. It made us a better program just applying those standards. So.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. You took the words right out of my mouth, Tom. It's a pleasure when it's your center to be able to see the work that you're doing and have something that says we're doing things the right way, right? Like we're meeting those standards that have been set by so many other programs. So it's incredibly rewarding, but just as rewarding is being a reviewer and being able to go see these programs, right? To see some of the work that programs are doing either with low resources, on shoestring budgets, some of the major operations that happen, to see some of the cool things that are happening, and just continue to encourage people and see the great ideas that you can even potentially bring back to your center to continue to push yourself forward is wonderful.
Yeah, when you're on a site and you see some of the innovative things that they're doing and you say even research, a lot of these programs are not broadcasting the work that you're doing, and it's so sad because we see amazing things that programs are doing. And please share it with the general community to help us get to a better place, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've been trying over the last year and a half to quantify the return on investment that people are putting into this to become accredited, and we think that we're pretty sure that there are very valuable benefits to becoming accredited, but now we're going to have some quantifiable evidence over the next 6 months to demonstrate to the public.
Yeah, what do you think some of those benefits are? Some of them may be tangible or intangible, but what are some of the benefits we're seeing?
Well, I think one of it is, the one that jumps out for me is the professional development for your operation, your education specialist within the center.
Yep.
So, folks are getting accredited and they're realizing that is an important piece. So becoming and making sure your staff is growing professionally?
Yep.
Are they here? Do they go to other programs? Are they continuing to grow? You know, we're on the outside, we'd say, okay, getting a credit might help you get more staff. Truth of the matter is, it helps you make your staff better.
Yes.
And that was one of the really powerful things I think came out of that. That research.
Yeah, I think it was, you know, we were looking at that perceived return on investment from programs that are accredited. And through that process, I think to me, the biggest eye opener and the thing that I thought was probably the biggest feather in the cap from it was just being able to put those quantifiable numbers to the fact that the standards are in fact showing what we're hoping that they're showing, right? Like that, you know, if you are going for systems integration, that you are seeing this huge return on investment, that you feel like you're truly making an impact in patient safety and quality within your hospital, right? That, you know, for these programs that have wonderful orientation processes, their employees feel much more well-developed, much more cared for, much more driven to continue to push themselves forward in the field. And I think that's what we all operate under, and we're hoping, but it was nice to be able to see some numbers that do back that up.
Yeah, and what's nice is that that's that continuous improvement or continuous the continuous improvement cycle that we all want. So, you know, as mentioned before, that we are a growing society. It's evolving and changing, and we need to adapt with the times as well. We have our accreditation standards, right, and what we hold value to, but those aren't always. We can change those and adapt with the growing community.
Yeah. And those are constantly, they're living documents that are constantly being updated and improved upon.
Yeah. So, in speaking about accreditation, there's one part that we have not talked about, which is being an accreditor for accreditation. Jared, you want to take that on and tell us a little about what that means?
Yeah, as the most recently joined member up here on the stage, our program went through accreditation in 2021. For me, after going through that process, really studying the standards, diving through, creating that application, it just seemed like the right time to be able to say, hey, like, let's take what I learned here and let's go learn a little bit more about it, right? To just take that leap of faith and jump out there. And what I can say about the process is I never would have dreamed the things that I've learned, the people I've met, just the information you learn, right? When you get paired with Tom, when you get paired with JJ, Don Schocken, Don Swiderski, some of these people that are all members of our council leadership have been team leads that I've really learned from. That you know, access to their knowledge and ability is incredible, and it's worth the free price of admission that you get.
Absolutely. You know, I'll speak from my own experience as well. It was 2014, I believe, that our system applied for accreditation, and I'm the one who drove that and said, you know, we need a good foundation to work from in building our simulation program. And so we pulled all of our paperwork together and our policy and procedures and, you know, a lot of stuff, and went for accreditation. And I had Don Schocken come, and there was a few others, and it was so amazing. I loved the process so much that I said, how can I become an accreditor? And they said, well, these are the steps you need to take to do it. And I was so proud and excited to become an accreditor because I felt like it meant something. And it does mean something, right? So as a simulation operations specialist, I was one of the first that was in that role to become an accreditor, and now I've got a balanced team as an accreditor when we go out and look at other simulation centers.
I think the thing I want to tag on with that too, coming from that ops specialist role, I think you see so many people that are directors that are clinically based and they're like, okay, that makes sense, I'll do it. But for those that aren't in that role, the operations specialist, you bring this certain skill set that is much needed. Because when we go on site as a team, 2, 3 people, sometimes 4, you really want that well-balanced approach to how we look at this, right? We're advocating for what these programs are doing. We want to be able to recognize that impact. And so it's only going to strengthen your program, your application, the more hands you have in that application, the more knowledge that you're getting. But then when you turn that around and you become an accreditor, you're really giving that program, you know, what they're looking for. They want to be accredited at the end of it, but they also want somebody to look and see where can they get better.
Yeah.
I do want to advocate for additional program reviewers. We need more. As we mentioned before, we're growing exponentially. We're doing 75 to 100 new programs every cycle. And so that means we have to have more people that are willing to go and see and accredit these programs. And we have information on that on the SSH Accreditation website. If you're interested in that, we would love to have you. And I'll tell you, just from my personal view, and I think these two would agree, it's so much fun, and you would agree too, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And you learn so much about your own program from going to other people's facilities.
Absolutely. Tom, how about your experience as a reviewer? You're a long-standing member, but
I echo all of that. I tell you what, it has been one of the best decisions to become a reviewer almost since day one. It's early on. And then you know, over a time, then all of a sudden you decide, okay, I want to become a team lead.
Yep.
You know, and then we have a process for that to help you become a team lead and mentoring into that. And it is really rewarding, and the things that you learn, writing a report, getting it back, guiding a team to provide really good feedback, recommendations of the things that collective team sees and hears. It's phenomenal. I would please join us.
Yeah.
Would be our beg, but it would be. It's very rewarding, and it's not overwhelming. You pick and choose, but we do have many things. We have a lot of new stuff coming up too, right?
A lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. So over the last year, we've been working on trying to improve our outreach to the international simulation community.
Yeah.
And our accreditation is, and much like certification too, is very US centric at this point. We don't like that, and there are barriers that need to be overcome, including the cost for accreditation, the travel that's involved and all that. But we're piloting a program here over the next year called CISA, the Commission on International Simulation Accreditation, in which SSH Accreditation will begin to accrediting bodies in different parts of the world, regions and countries of the world. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, what are some of the biggest benefits of that? I mean, it sounds amazing, but
Of CISA, what would be the benefit of if you're another country and you're a society, if you will, you now can accredit programs within your region. They'll be saving money. So that's always good, right? But at the same time, it's in your language, whatever that might be, would be the benefit. You would be able to have folks who know you, work with you, much like here in the United States.
Yeah.
We go to all these places in the United States and we know each other, right? You'll be doing this in your country or your region. There's many, many benefits. Plus there's benefits of you're associated with SSH, you're still using our accreditation standards, but you're being accredited by your society.
Not starting from zero.
So that makes it really cool. So now I'm accredited, but you know I'm accredited under the society's accreditation standards, and we're all collectively together in this.
Yes.
You know, we know that we're all doing the right thing, and that'd be so wonderful. It's really hard for programs to get that because, as JJ mentioned the barriers of cost and getting reviewers there and language and all that. Your standards will be in your language, which is going to be better.
That's amazing.
Right? So,
I really think the biggest issue with it, we have all those barriers, but when we look at the problem and we're looking at 85% of the programs being US based, there's just a huge gap and a huge need to recognize the great work that people are doing. And if we want to be a truly international organization, then these are the things that we have to look at and consider. And so for us, we are passionate about programs being recognized for the great work they're doing and for upholding those standards and that best practice. And so if we're going to talk about that and preach that, then we need to make sure that we're having those opportunities for other programs around the world.
Yeah, I think it's really big for advocacy and getting out there. We do talk about the United States, and we've got a lot of sim centers in the States, but there's a lot of stuff happening outside of the United States that, like you say, needs to be recognized, and accreditation can really help do that. We've been able to really cross-pollinate as simulationists and through accreditation quite a bit, but we need to grow and adapt and do even more than we've done. The work isn't done.
I was going to say, JJ, it's the perfect time, right? Like with the strategic plan that the Society for Simulation in Healthcare has put forward, it falls right in line with 3 of those key areas, being the advocacy piece, the credentialing piece, and organizational sustainability. So continuing to just make sure that we are, just like we mentioned with the standards, always looking to make ourselves better and continue to match best practices around the world.
And this is going to be a true partnership between us and the accrediting organizations around the world that we're going to work with, and we're going to learn just as much from them as they're going to learn from us, hopefully.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So we've talked a lot about accreditation and being an accreditor. What are some resources that people can have, or where can they go to find the resources to become accredited or to become an accreditor?
Sure.
SSH website. Go to our website, that's the first stop, and find the certification or the accreditation certification tab on the top there. Takes you right to our accreditation page, and everything you need there, the companion documents, the standards, whatever the process might be you're looking for, it's all right on that page, as well as our contact of our staff members.
Absolutely. I always say phone a friend, right?
Phone a
We're all here to support each other and build that safety net to be successful.
And I would encourage, reach out to us.
Yeah.
Reach out early if you have questions, and we'll get you on the right path, and we'll actually convince you, yes, you should go through accreditation.
There's not too many things that the 3 of us wouldn't say is we're more passionate about than accreditation. So we love to talk about it. You know, just give us a call. I'll be happy to do it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you for being interviewed today and jumping on stage with me to talk about accreditation through the Society for Simulation in Healthcare. Before we leave, I want to thank all 3 of you for being really amazing simulationists and driving the industry. And the reason why I thank you so heavily is because I feel many of us as simulationists don't get thanked enough, right? We're behind the scenes folks trying to drive patient safety and quality, which I very much appreciate myself. So thank you for everything that you do for not only the society, and for simulation, but society as a whole.
Thank you, Phil.
I'll thank you the same way.
Thank you.